Today my name is Katie Williams, and I have two of my English language arts teachers from Durand South, Sarah Nearmore, hopping on with us, and Ivy Patterson. And we also have our instructional support specialist at Durand South, Miss Karen Wright. And I really appreciate you guys hopping on here today. We're going to watch a really short presentation on programs that our school offers. So let me go to share my screen. Okay, I'm going to come here. Okay. So this is a leading task video presentation for Jacksonville State University, and it has to do with Alabama Standard Number 5, which is Community of Care and Support for Students. So the activity that I chose to talk about has to do with linking things together for our students and our community and being an inclusive, caring school, which we are. So it's based on programs and best practices for equitable learning. So that's something that you hear all this in education now about equity versus equality. That's the first thing that I found this picture from, and I'm sure y'all have seen this. This has been circulating everywhere. But the first picture has all pictures have 3 students, but they're 3 different students. And so, can one of y'all tell me what you think the first picture represents? Something that's given to all 3 of the students. It's the same.
Like an even playing field. They're all have a box.
They're all given the same size box, all 3. And so because they're all 3 given the same thing, does that really benefit everyone? No, it doesn't. All right, and in the second picture, what's going on there?
Everybody's given what they need to see.
Yes, the shorter student who can't see over the fence is given 2 boxes. And so because he's given 2, now he can see over it along with the one who just needed 1 box to be able to see over it. And then the one who was tall anyway didn't even need a box to be able to see over it. And then the last one, I don't know if I can move this around. Oh, yeah, I can. Look at there. And so the last one, this is the one that really kind of stuck out to me because when I saw this, I thought, well, I wonder why they put that picture in there. But it's a chain link fence in front of all 3 of the students, or all 3 of the boys. And they're all given that fence, but it doesn't help any of them. So sometimes we talk about equity versus equality, and equity would be that middle picture. That would be giving everybody what they need versus equality, which is giving everybody the same thing. And then sometimes in education, we think something is going to work for everybody, and it winds up working for nobody at all. So that is kind of what the fence reminds me of. We gave you something, but it actually wasn't what you needed. It actually made it worse, trying to look through a fence. Speaking of some of our struggles, according to the Math Global Scholar, which I actually pulled the May scores this year, our students, 60% of them scored below grade level. So that means below 7th grade. And then that was on the math. And then on the reading, 62% fell below. So this is from the very last test that they took in May. So that's really, really low. And so there's definitely, we have this gap that we're trying to find ways to work on, and we're going to talk about some of those programs that we use too. We've definitely been able to utilize a lot this year and some extra stuff. So that's really good. The demographics for our school, we have around 304 students. We are divided up 50% male, 50% female. Our socioeconomic status, it's pretty split down the middle too, almost. We have about well over half of our students that are free or reduced lunch, and the other half are paid. So there's a really big difference there in a margin in our school. But when I calculated this other side up, our special populations, and I never really thought about it because I thought, we have a few IEP students or we have a few special ed, but really we have about 25% of our kids. 25% once you combine the 504, your gifted students, which would be, your honors, because they're considered a special population as well. You don't ever think about that, but they really are because they learn differently. And we have our EL and our special education. So 1/4 of our students learn differently. They need different things. So that's where equity is so important. And you don't, until you break it down and see, wow, that's a big chunk of our kids that, they're needing other services and other things. So I think it's really cool once I started digging to find out all the stuff that we offer those children. So one of the things that falls into this gap that we're talking about, especially with academics, we have a lot of students that are subject to poverty and disadvantages. So while y'all jump in and give me a reason, what do you think is one reason maybe that our students are subject to poverty or some disadvantages, and then, we kind of get the backlash of that at school?
I think just the area, being from a rural community like Pell City that's not surrounded by, like a bigger city and places like that, it's less opportunities for parents and things like that.
Right, absolutely. Ms. Wright, what do you think?
I think along those same lines, you have professionals here in this school district, children who are parents are professionals, but we also have a lot of children who live in St. Clair County, which has a higher rate of poverty. So even though our township has some benefits, we're still part of that larger rural poorer county.
Absolutely. So talking about just disadvantages too, I researched some things about some students with poverty and disadvantages. Let me move this up this side too. Okay. So some complex causes, some of the things children that grow up in poverty, they're already suffering before they even come to school. They have disadvantages, things that you really don't even think about. If it was a cold winter night and they didn't have any heat, then they may not have slept all night long. So they're coming to school and they're sleepy because they didn't sleep because it was freezing cold, or because, they don't have any water. Things that we take advantage of that stuff. We always have power, we always have water, but, they may not, and something may have happened and, they had to leave in the middle of the night and they didn't even get to sleep in their own bed. So lots of things having to do with family life that we don't even think about that go into what they bring to school when they come to school. Not having any food at home, if they have financial hardships and they're hungry when they come to school, they're not going to perform better because they're hungry. And also the stress from home can lead to brain developments, problems, even from young age, just the stress of everything that they're having to handle and they don't know how to handle it. There's something that our research called learned helplessness behavior. And I'd never heard of this before, but when I read about it, I was like, that really is something that we deal with too. This thinking that the odds are stacked against them. So they're like, I'm poor, or I don't get this, I'm dumb, I'm not going to be able to do this. Like it's the attitude, the mindset they go into this, like I'm helpless, I can't do it. Everything's backed against me. I have all this weight against me. And so they just, they crumble. They don't have that support that they really need to be able to push through it. And then like we were talking about, schools in certain areas lack the funds, or they have the funds, but they just, we have the poverty rate because of where we're located and how the zoning is, stuff like that. Some things that our schools and our district applies, obviously we have HIPAA and confidentiality laws. We are a Title I system, so we get federal funds. And most of that for our system goes into the elementary schools to be able to fund for teachers and stuff like that they need. As far as seventh grade, we are still under the ESSA Literacy Act, which is kind of from the No Child Left Behind, which has souped up our reading content areas and makes them have to go through, like the elementaries that have letters training. We have specific trainings that we are required to do and enact in our reading classes and be accountable for that. And then, of course, we always follow the IEP and 504 federal laws in our schools, as well as Title IV laws for our ELL students. They have plans and we follow those as well. And then we have Title IX, which goes into following the rules with any kind of discrimination or harassment for sports, all the way to dealing with teachers, anti-discriminatory stuff. And then, of course, we get Aaron's Law and suicide prevention training the teachers do every year. And last, which is our new one, some of the policies, that is the comprehensive integrated 3-tiered model of prevention, the fancy CI3T, which of course is kind of like behavioral plans that deal with taking a proactive approach. And each school has their own plan and a team that comes together with that and then puts that forward in all the schools. Some instructional support for students that we have. Of course, we have Miss Wright, who is our instructional support specialist. She communicates data analysis and offers teacher support as well as support for our students, being able to pull small groups and collect data and let us know what areas that we need to be working on and also support us in that. We have after school tutoring. We have grade recovery. We have a summer bridge program that's offered this summer for grades 5 through 8. We also have Boys and Girls Club, which offers after-school care for students that need it. We offered Wi-Fi and hotspots, as well as Chromebook rentals, one-to-one for all the students, so they were able to work at home and at school and have that technology. We also have Hope, which is like our free legal counseling services for students that need it, and we also are partnered with the Children's Place in Pell City, which helps families that need it as well. We have Backpack Buddies. We also partner with Kid Help Program with Pell City Methodist Church, where the church comes together and can buy things for students that they need, clothes. They send home the little care packages every weekend with food for those students that need to take food home over the weekend. And then, of course, we have like Odyssey and Reading Horizons programs and additional support like that. So some of our specific instructional programs that we have, of course, we have AMSTI, which is for math and science. We have Reading Horizons or Elevate, which is for our lower level readers. We have IXL for math, science, and reading. We have Odyssey, which is a computer-based curriculum for the homebound students, or even if we have specific special ed students that need to use that program, they're able to do that. Well, I was trying to move this. Oh, there we go. We also have, of course, the LTF curriculum, those for our honors kids, as well as a gifted program. And then we have career technology and small group counseling. Some additional programs and clubs that we have, some of the electives that we have are choir, band, career technology, and media studies. And then we actually have a partnership with the Horse Farm Equestrian Therapy, I think they called it. And we haven't used that in a few years, but we do have some students that used to some special ed and some behavioral students, and that was a part of their plan, was to be able to if they would meet their behavioral goals, they were able to go to the horse farm. I don't know if you remember those students that we used to have that did that. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then some clubs that we have, of course, are Glamour Girls, Gentlemen's Club, SGA, and Beta Club. And these clubs specifically meet during school hours, so that most of the students that want to be active in those clubs don't have to worry about getting a ride home from school or two or four back and forth to school to be able to hang out in that club. And then we have robotics, Scholars Bowl, debate team, and then our sports, volleyball, basketball, baseball, softball, track and field, football, and cheerleading. So we have tons of things. And once I really went to dig and saw all the stuff that our school has to offer, I was really proud of it, because it's really awesome. I'm going to end with, some may argue that it's not the school's job to fill in the gaps of special populations of students left behind in education, but it's the moral responsibility of the school to give an equitable and fair educational opportunity to all students, regardless of where they are from or where they have come from. Our future is made up of all of these students. So I really thought that it was awesome that we have all of these special programs and things at our school and our district as well. And then at the high school, they even offer even more things for students. So I thought that was really fantastic. So that is my presentation. So I really appreciate y'all hanging out with me and participating, and y'all are awesome. So I will let y'all go and have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye, Katie.